Two penniless boys in Brindaban. It would serve you right if father disinherited you, Mukund. How foolishly you are throwing away your life. An elder brother's sermon was assaulting my ears. Jitendra and I, fresh from the train, a figure of speech merely, we were covered with dust, had just arrived at the home of Anant, recently transferred from Calcutta to the ancient city of Agra. Brother was a supervising accountant for the Public Works Department of the government. You well know, Anant, I seek my inheritance from the Heavenly Father. Money first, God can come later. Who knows, life may be too long. God first, money is a slave. Who can tell, life may be too short. My retort was summoned by the exigencies of the moment and held no presentiment. Alas, Ananta's life did come to an early close. Wisdom from the hermitage, I suppose. But I see you have left Banaras. Ananta's eyes gleamed with satisfaction. He was yet hoping to secure my opinions in the family nest. My sojourn in Banaras was not in vain. I found there everything my heart had been longing for. You may be sure it was not your Pandit or his son. Anant joined me in reminiscent laughter. He had to admit that the Banaras clairvoyant he selected had proved a short-sighted one. What are your plans, my wandering brother? Jitendra persuaded me to Agra. We shall view the beauties of the Taj Mahal here, I explained. Then we are going to my newly found guru who has a hermitage in Serampore. Anant hospitably arranged for our comfort. Several times during the evening I noticed his eyes fixed on me reflectively. I know that look, I thought. A plot is brewing. The denouement took place during our early breakfast. So you feel quite independent of father's wealth. Ananta's gaze was innocent as he resumed the barbs of yesterday's conversation. I am conscious of my dependence on God. Words are cheap. Life has shielded you thus far. What a plight if you were forced to look to the invisible hand for your food and shelter. You would soon be begging on the streets. Never. I would not put faith in passers-by rather than in God. He can devise for his devotee 1,000 resources besides the begging bowl. More rhetoric. Suppose I suggest that your vaunted philosophy be put to a test in this tangible world? I would agree. Do you confine God to a speculative world? We shall see. Today you shall have opportunity either to enlarge or to confirm my own views. Anant paused for a dramatic moment, then spoke slowly and seriously. I propose that I send you and your fellow disciple Jitendra this morning to the nearby city of Brindaban. You must not take a single rupee. You must not beg, either for food or money. You must not reveal your predicament to anyone. You must not go without your meals. And you must not be stranded in Brindaban. If you return to my bungalow here before 12 o'clock tonight, without having broken any rule of the test, I shall be the most astonished man in Agra. I accept the challenge. No hesitation was in my words or in my heart. Grateful memories flashed of the instant beneficence. My healing of deadly cholera through an appeal to Lahari Mahasaya's picture, the playful gift of the 2 kites on the Lahore roof, the opportune amulet amidst my discouragement in Bareilly, the decisive message through the sadhu outside the courtyard of the Pandit's house in Banaras, the vision of Divine Mother and her majestic words of love, her swift heed through Master Mahasaya to my trifling embarrassments, the last-minute guidance that had materialized my high school diploma, and the ultimate boon, my living master from the midst of my lifelong dreams. Never would I admit my philosophy unequal to any tussle on the world's harsh proving grounds. Your willingness does you credit. I'll escort you to the train at once, Anant said. He turned to the open-mouthed Jitendra. You must go along as a witness and very likely a fellow victim. A half-hour later, Jitendra and I were in possession of one-way tickets for the trip. We submitted in a secluded corner of the station to a search of our persons. Anant was quickly satisfied that we were carrying no hidden hoard. Our simple dhotis concealed nothing more than was necessary. As faith invaded the serious realms of finance, my friend spoke protestingly. Anant, give me 1 or 2 rupees as a safeguard, then I can telegraph you in case of misfortune. Jitendra! My ejaculation was sharply reproachful. I will not proceed with the test if you take any money as final security. There is something reassuring about the clink of coins, Jitendra said no more as I regarded him sternly. Mukund, I am not heartless. A hint of humility had crept into Anand's voice. It may be that his conscience was smiting him, perhaps for sending two penniless boys to a strange city, perhaps for his own religious skepticism. If by any chance or grace you pass successfully through the Brindaban ordeal, I shall ask you to initiate me as your disciple. This promise had a certain irregularity in keeping with the unconventional occasion. The eldest brother in an Indian family seldom bows before his juniors. He receives respect and obedience second only to a father. But no time remained for my comment. Our train was at point of departure. Jitendra maintained a lugubrious silence as the train covered the miles. Finally he bestirred himself. Leaning over, he pinched me painfully on a tender spot. I see no sign that God is going to supply our next meal. Be quite doubting, Thomas. The Lord is working with us. Can you also arrange that he hurry? Already I am famished merely at the prospect before us. I left Banaras to view the Taj Mausoleum, not to enter my own. Cheer up, Jitendra. Are we not to have our first glimpse of the sacred wonders of Brindaban? I am in deep joy at the thought of treading the ground hallowed by the feet of Lord Krishna. The door of our compartment opened. Two men seated themselves. The next train stop would be the last. Young lads, do you have friends in Brindaban? The stranger opposite me was taking a surprising interest. None of your business. Rudely I averted my gaze. You are probably flying away from your families under the enchantment of the stealer of hearts. I am of devotional temperament myself. I will make it my positive duty to see that you receive food and shelter from this overpowering heat. No, sir, let us alone. You are very kind, but you are mistaken in judging us to be truants from home. No further conversation ensued. The train came to a halt as Jitendra and I descended to the platform. Our chance companions linked arms with us and summoned a horse cab. We alighted before a stately hermitage, set amidst the evergreen trees of well-kept grounds. Our benefactors were evidently known here. A smiling lad led us without comment to a parlour. We were soon joined by an elderly woman of dignified bearing. Gaurima, the princess, could not come. One of the men addressed the ashram hostess. At the last moment their plans went awry. They sent deep regrets. But we have brought two other guests. As soon as we met on the train, I felt drawn to them as devotees of Lord Krishna. Goodbye, young friends. Our two acquaintances walked to the door. We shall meet again if God be willing. You are welcome here, Gaurima smiled in motherly fashion. You could not have come on a better day. I was expecting two royal patrons of this hermitage. What a shame if my cooking had found none to appreciate it. The pleasant words had a surprising effect on Jitendra. He burst into tears. The prospect he had feared in Brindaban was turning out as royal entertainment. His sudden mental adjustment proved too much for him. Our hostess looked at him with curiosity, but without remark. Perhaps she was familiar with adolescent quirks. Lunch was announced. Gaurima led the way to a dining patio, spicy with savoury odours. She vanished into an adjoining kitchen. I had been premeditating this moment, selecting the appropriate spot on Jitendra's body. I gave him a pinch as painful as the one he had given me on the train. Doubting Thomas, the Lord works in a hurry too. The hostess re-entered with a pankha. She steadily fanned us in the oriental fashion as we squatted on ornate blanket seats. Ashram disciples passed to and fro with some 30 courses. Rather than meal, the description may be only sumptuous repast. Since arriving on this planet, Jitendra and I had never before tasted such delicacies. Dishes fit for princes indeed. Honoured mother, what your royal patrons could have found more urgent than attending this banquet, I cannot imagine. You have given us a memory for a lifetime. Silenced as we were by Ananta's requirement, we could not explain to the gracious lady that our thanks held a double significance. Our sincerity at least was patent. We departed with her blessing and an attractive invitation to revisit the hermitage.